Well. Good morning, everybody. This is Alex here, and in the iChongqing studio and coming in the studio just for you. I've been getting messages all morning. Let's do a little bit of a time check here. It's 11:33 a.m. here in Chongqing, China, March 15th. That's right. I'm here with you. And let's also do a sound check. Hopefully, you guys can hear me okay. Let me know if the sound is good. I'm going to also just tap into my phone and see if it's good. Yeah, I think I sound pretty good. Good morning. All right. Well, we did this kind of in a short time, but you have to with this kind of news, right? I mean, this is pretty amazing news. And I think this is some of the biggest news of the year. I just want to welcome some guests here. Welcome, Hang. Welcome, Caliber Wings. Noel, thank you very much for coming onto the program. And lots to really talk about today and lots to really unpack on what's going on here in China. Now, a lot has changed here in the last 24 hours, and I'm going to go through it with you here and answer all your questions. I know a lot of you have questions about what does this mean? What does that headline mean, Alex? China is open. What's going on? Well, I'm going to kind of give you guys a roundabout what this is all about. So, as we know, the country's been pretty much closed off to tourist visas for about the last 3 years. Almost to the date when you think about it. Yeah, we're in the middle of March in 2023. Amazing, huh? Almost 3 years later. The good news is we had great news coming out yesterday, breaking news, and I would say that is pretty amazing. So hello to Ken, hello to Hang. Thanks for Suntan joining on such a short notice. And I just wanted to say welcome to all our new subscribers that have joined the iChongqing channel here in the last couple of days. We have had a pretty amazing month of growth here on our iChongqing channel. And as well as thank you for all the people that join us from the Sunday or Monday program, Let's Talk China. We had a huge audience on the weekend again, over 3,300 live simultaneous viewers. Wasn't a record, but very, very impressive to bring you guys in. Okay, well, let's talk about what's going on here in China. So China to ease visa entries. This is the news report, and this is really flowing when you think about it. It's changing a lot here by the hour. We're starting to see some embassies update their websites. Now, I'm going to kind of take you guys through what this really means, what it means for you if you're outside of China, if you're a student, if you're a tourist, if you're a family member wanting to come back to visit people, if you want to come here on visa, a lot of things to really unpack here. And it's going to take a few minutes, but I'm here to answer your questions. I think there was one right on the top of the thing today. Can a person with a travel visa enter China and then from inside China apply and get a Z work visa? That's an interesting question. Now, it's all depending, I think, on the country that you are coming from, first of all, whether it's coming for business or coming for tourism visas. I've heard some people convert business visas coming here on business, and then the next thing you know, they get offered a job while they're here. That you would have to find out, I think, through each local province. There's a division in the province called the Foreign Affairs Office, or the Office of Foreign Affairs, or whatever terminology you want to use for it, but they're the ones that can pretty much answer that. And I think it would be up to your employer to really help you out with that if you're being offered a job while you're in China. I think you'd have to go through all the protocols. It's pretty straightforward here. There's no gray areas on this kind of stuff here. And the good thing is, and what I've had from experience here being in China, when you do call a government entity for some help or some assistance to try to get some answers to your questions, somebody actually answers the phone. So, not in my native country of Canada, where they would tell you to revert to email and then you're at the mercy of the email. Anyway, let's read up about something that I got from a news report yesterday. It says China to ease the visa entry policy. So I'm going to read this to you guys, and if you guys have some questions, I'm definitely going to answer them for you. I am paying attention to the chats today. I can. On the weekend, when we had over 3,300 people on our live stream, it's a little bit difficult to do that. Anyway, here we go. So China visa offices abroad will resume issuing all types of visas to foreigners on Wednesday, That is today, to facilitate cross-border travels, including the tourism part, port visa, multi-visa exemption policies. The Foreign Ministry Department of Consular Affairs announced on Tuesday. Pretty fast, huh? Hey guys, we're going to open the country of 1.4 billion people in 24 hours to tourists. Now, a lot of people say, well, it's China. Does China really have a lot of tourists? Well, I mean, one of the fourth largest tourism markets in the world, depending on what publication that you're reading. But I'm hearing numbers as many as 32 million in some of the peak. So, I mean, that's a lot of people. Now, foreigners with valid visas. Now, pay attention to this. This is really, really important. I actually have one of these visas in my passport as well before I came to China working. I mean, this is interesting. Foreigners with, now pay attention to this, everybody. Foreigners with a valid visa issued before March 28th, 2020. And that's a lot of people that have these. They could be tourism or 10-year visas. I had one, of course, and even during we'll call it the COVID preventions for the last few years, those visas were suspended. They weren't canceled, but there was a lot of people in limbo saying, well, hey, I have this visa. I paid for it. It's valid for 10 years. Can I come? Well, tourism was pretty much a no-go here for the last few years, and now it is open. So the good news is foreigners with that valid visa issued before March 28th will be allowed to enter China. Well, if you got one of those visas sitting in your passport right now, you can book a flight and get on your way to China. That's the exciting news. Let's have a look here. Some other news here. So I'm going to go into a little bit more details about this. As the country is adjusting to its visa and entry policies to facilitate travel across the border, visa-free policies will be resumed, for entry to the southern island province of Henan and the cruise tour groups at the Shanghai ports. Wow, is that great? I mean, bringing a lot of people back into the workforce here. Can you imagine that? 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. That's how fast this country's got to prepare for it. They're opening up today. Can you believe it? Announcement yesterday, tourism visa renewal. Let's go. Just like that. So I can imagine some of these websites are going to be just hammered with bookings. Let's have a look here. Also, to add to this, the visa-free entry to the southern province of Guangdong will be restored for tour groups of foreigners from Hong Kong and Macau, and a similar mechanism will be reinstated for tour groups from Asian countries to enter in the southern Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region. The policies will come into force again, as I said today. According to the immigration authorities, inbound travelers are advised to consult with their local Chinese embassies or consulates for more detailed requirements and procedures. Okay, let's have a look. We're going to go into a little bit of details here. Some of this stuff is official. Some of it, we also have some stuff from some news agencies that have made the report or broke the news yesterday. I would say if you want the most relevant and detailed and factual information, you definitely visit the embassy's websites. Now, I'm going to talk to you guys about something. When you're applying for these visas, I'm going to see if I can bring this up on the screen now. This is something that you guys got to take into consideration. Many years ago when I was coming to China, I've been coming to China since 2022 for over 20 years. And before, it used to be quite difficult to get a visa many years ago. Going to the Chinese embassy was quite the experience and quite the treat, actually. Well, what has really changed in this process, and this was even before we entered a pandemic, China, they have what they're called Chinese visa application service centers. Now, the good thing about it is they are very well set up. Lots of people working at the kiosks there to help you, the information desk. You can set up an appointment online. No walking into these massive embassies, waiting in line, coming between, get there early, all this kind of stuff. No. At least for most part here. And I'm going to bring this up and show you guys what I'm talking about here in just a moment. But it's a basically, I would say that China has kind of outsourced, these agencies that will help provide this service for you. It's a pretty affordable service as well. Let me see if I can get this website up here while we're still here chatting away. Okay, so here we go. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me go full screen on that. So that is what we call the China Visa Application Center. Now, the good news is whatever country you're in, it should be able to accommodate the language that you're in. So, I mean, if you're coming from Poland or something like that, I'm sure the Polish language is available for that. And you can see here, it's a step-by-step guide on how to get the visa. You can go the quick access or the step-by-step guide. And as you're flowing into the software, I mean, it literally takes, I had a friend do it yesterday, about 20 to 30 minutes, and you can see how detailed it is there. How are you going to submit your visa application? By visiting the visa center, by post. Of course, if there's a visa center available in that city, hey, make an appointment. How are you going to collect your passport? By post or by visa. The good thing is this has really made it a lot easier for you and me and everybody that wants to visit China to get a visa. And I tested this yesterday. Now, I don't know if all of these have really been updated, but you can see at least the one where we did in Poland. I was on there with Michela Ponte yesterday and telling them, okay, China's open, Mr. Ponte. And I think some of the viewers will know Michael Ponte. We're going to get him here as fast as possible. So, yeah, him and I were on this site yesterday, and the good news is, and I'm not going to spoil it for if some of the viewers are or from his channel watching us today. I'm not going to spoil it to what outcome has come there. It's exciting, but I just wanted to tell you guys that. But these visa application, or they're called visaforchina.cn, these sites accommodate you and make it very, very easy for you to get a visa to China. What it happens is you go in, you fill out the form, you print the form, you take it down there. And what they do is the China Visa Application Center, they are the ones that basically collect all this information for you and then submit it to the embassy on your behalf. And they go and then pick it up from the embassy, whether it's the next day or 2 days or 3 days, depending on the service. I'm hearing some services can take maybe 3 to 5, maybe to 7 business days, depending once again on what country it is, what visa type it is. Is it a tourist visa, single entry, double entry, multiple entry? Is it a business visa, a family visa? Many different choices for many different people. I can't speak for everyone, but I mean, there's a lot of choices to go through. The other thing is that you're going to be able to also ask for express service. Now, the key catching thing that could catch a person out on this is make sure you're watching the airline flow here, because you got to remember, this country did, yes, open up to allowing its citizens to travel and come back without any quarantine, no problem. Those flights have now been, I would say, pretty much accommodated, even domestically. People traveling to Thailand, to other countries, we saw an uptick in flights. Got it. We understand that. And that's, something that took a while to prepare. We used to see the prices. Everybody wanted to go maybe to Japan or to maybe Thailand right away. We saw the prices pretty high, and then they started to, level off. And that was the great news. People got some tickets. Everyone was happy. Everyone calmed down. And now we have a nice flow. Just last week, I believe, last Friday, we had a nice, really cool meeting at the Zhangbei Airport here in Chongqing. We did meet some of the people from the Tourism Authority of Thailand, TAT they call it, and they had told us that just in the opening, in the first few months, it accommodated more than 300,000 Chinese tourists to Thailand. Might sound like a lot, but that is a market that at one time accommodated more than 11 million annually. So you can imagine the flight upticks from that. And that is them. The company, they were also, we're calling it the reopening of the flights from Chongqing to Phuket. And just that flight was sold out. We were standing there with the CEO of West Air, really nice guy named Key. Fantastic. We had a great chat. He was excited. He's also a pilot as well. So he was like, it's a great day, Alex. We're back. And I can only imagine how excited he is now, finding out yesterday that, guess what? Tourists are going to be valid to come back into this country now. So that is big news. And what I really want to go into detail with you guys, that you guys have to check out the flight flow here, because I can imagine the airlines are going to be scrambling. It's not like they have maybe Ken, you know this. I mean, it's not like you can just fire up a jet and turn the keys on and ready to go. It needs staff. It needs ground staff. It needs flight patterns that are going, the bookings. I mean, this is a lot of technical stuff that's going to have to be up and going. Now, for most part, we did see some of the flights from some of the other countries here. We saw when I was looking with Michela Ponte, at least from Europe, some of the prices were still pretty good. I won't say they were amazing yet, but I think now when you're opening a country of 1.4 to 1.5 billion people, competition is definitely going to come in here. And this is going to really accelerate the market. Okay, so let's look at some of the visa resumption. I guess we're going to call them policy adjustments. The adjustments include the valid multi-year, multi-entry visas issued before March 28th. Now, to my understanding, this 10-year visa is only given to certain countries that I guess have maybe a bilateral visa agreement in regards to this type of visa. I know Canada has it, the United States has it, and I believe the UK has it. This is a visa that I would definitely suggest, if you can get a 10-year visa for China, go for it. I mean, absolutely go for it. Price-wise, you just never know. Imagine that. Imagine you're sitting in your country and you say, I got a 10-year visa. I can travel to China, no problem. Enjoy one of its 600 and some cities. I mean, there are hundreds of cities here that are massive. I mean, some are, you've never heard of, that are even bigger than London. I mean, quite an exciting country to travel around. Bringing that up, I'd actually like to see if I can pull something up for you guys here and show you a little bit of a video that you guys, this should maybe get you guys in the mood for traveling to China. Let me just pull it up. I made this video about a year ago, and during the pandemic, and I think it's a video that I would like to share with you guys. Let's see if we can get some sound on it, and yeah, I'm going to bring it up on the program here. Let me just see if I can get this in full screen for you guys. We can have a little bit of a watch here and see if we can make some sense of this. Okay, hold on a second here. And I don't have my full crew with me today because this is a real kind of breaking news for me to get this live stream going, because we had it came out of nowhere yesterday. I wasn't expecting it. Anyway, here we go. We're going to play this little video for you guys, and let's see if we can enjoy this.
System overload.
Now, this is the city of Guangzhou. It's got quite a big population down there, near Shenzhen and near Hong Kong, not too far away. Massive city, mega city. And this is a screenshot of Shanghai. These are very exciting cities to go to. And we're seeing other cities in this video. Some of them are from Shenzhen. We showed Chongqing in this video. I mean, just absolutely stunning skyscrapers. I think it's quite beautiful. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you guys. There are a lot of cities to visit. Of course, one of my favorites is Chongqing, of course, but maybe I'm biased on that. But no, this is really a great day for China. And I think, there are all types of cities that you might enjoy. I know we all know Shanghai and Beijing. Each one of them has, their own unique reason to visit. If you like the tech industry, Shenzhen is a great city. If you like to look into the finance and world banking and stuff like that, Hong Kong is a major financial center, as well as Shanghai. In Macau, there is a really big casino business going on in there. Wynn Resorts is involved with some beautiful properties down there as well. As well as we have some other, I think, some fantastic cities in China that you can visit, even tourism, some of them for nature. Even outside of Chongqing here, we have beautiful, and I'm talking Chongqing, the city center here, I'm talking the CBD. As you go into the mountains, there are some amazing things that you can explore around this area. It's absolutely stunning. I'm going to read some of your comments here. Let's have a look. Does this mean China will have more export tourism too, meaning more Chinese will be visiting other countries, stimulating other countries and economies? Well, that's a good point. Now, China has been, I would say it's pardon me. Let me try this again. Its citizens, so many things to talk about, guys. Its citizens have been able to travel without any restrictions now for the last couple of months. And that is helping, of course, countries, especially in Southeast Asia, tick up on their tourism numbers. And I said earlier on in the program, just in the first few months, Thailand has experienced over 300,000 Chinese people that have gone to Thailand directly. So yes, of course, that means that things will definitely, for sure, tick up in these countries. But now here's the other thing, is it makes the airline carriers more competitive now, because not only are they going to be flying the jets of tourists from China to these other countries, on the way back, bringing that jet back, they're going to be bringing tourists from, let's say, places like Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, a lot of these countries that do business with China. A lot of them are connected to the International Land Sea Trade Corridor. I'm sure you guys seen that video. That trade is also important. Not just, this is not just about tourism. I mean, the business visas, the ease of bringing people. A lot of people come here on business and they want to bring their family along with them. Say, hey, we're going to go meet so-and-so in Shenzhen, and hey, let's bring the family along. Well, that now can happen. Instead of that, just one individual arriving, doing business, going home. Now they can bring their family along with it. That's the cool thing. So you're going to be allowed to do all sorts of things. Nicole has a question here. Says, if you had a 10-year pre-pandemic, is it still valid, or do you have to get a new one? Good news. You don't have to get a new one. What I just read a couple of minutes ago, let me just read it again for you. And thank you for joining the program, Nicole. Let's have a look at it again here. Where is my notes here? Okay. Foreigners with a valid visa issued before March 28, 2020 will be allowed to enter China as the country is adjusting to its visa and entry policies to facilitate travelers from around the world. I just want to talk, why this is a big news is, China did go through quite a process here to protect its citizens and to keep everyone, safe during an extremely difficult time for the world. A lot of countries around the world did struggle and have policies that were absolutely catastrophe, and they are still reeling in the effects. Um, I'm just going to talk about some of the adjustments now. The visa relaxation in China is the most recent effort to reopen its borders. Now, under the zero COVID policy, China had imposed pretty strict travel restrictions on international arrivals starting the 28th of March in 2020. That's almost 3 years ago. Um, okay, so that started, and then we kept that going for quite a while. And this was, of course, to understand, to make sure that the country was preparing for the worst. I mean, you got to think the world has had a very, very difficult time here the last 3 years here. Um, this whole uh, last couple of years just feel like it's so far in the past. I think you viewers can understand what I'm talking about. I know other countries opened up much earlier, and we're saying, hey, this COVID is we don't it's not even in the headlines in our countries anymore. Each country had its own policies, its own way of opening up, its own way of dealing with visas. Can people travel? Vaccinations. Um, China, they had their own strategy, and this is how they implemented it, and this is how they open up the country. And they these notes here, the restrictions were in turn loosened and then tightened in response to the changing situations worldwide. In addition to the reduced frequency of international passenger flights, China's restrictions included limited visa availability, including a suspension of the tourist visa. Now, that is the big news and what we're talking about here. So, where does that take us now? And I'm going to go through a couple of these notes. And you must remember, a lot of these notes are going to be updated on whatever country you're applying from, whether it's France, Germany, Poland, United States, Canada, UK, Ireland, you name it. Now, in December of 2022 here, just a few months back, China decided to shift from the zero COVID to kind of, we'll call it living with COVID, following the downgrade of COVID to a Class B infectious disease and the removal of the centralized quarantine for inbound travelers. It was the quarantine, really, I think, that was, making things rather difficult and costly for everyone. So the good news is China announced then it would optimize its immigration administration policies starting from January 8th. I remember that day. January 8th was a big day. In particular, China resumed the issuance of passports for Chinese mainland residents, ordinary visas, and residence permits for foreigners, as well as tourist visa exemptions for short-term travelers. After that, China reopened the visa applications for most types of visas, as per announcements posted by some Chinese embassies. Like I told you, you got to really watch these embassies because things change apparently by the hour here. It's very fast moving. Now, with the latest policy adjustment, the restrictions on visa applications for tourism and medical treatment will finally be removed. I think today we said, I think it was 12 o'clock today. Well, that was 2 minutes ago. So welcome. You're welcome. Foreigners will be able to travel to China more conveniently and for all kinds of purposes. So my last point here is what's next? At the time of the writing of this article, not all, and I said this earlier, guys, not all Chinese embassies have published the notice. Those that have released the notice include, but are not limited to, the Chinese embassies in the Bahamas, Canada, Czech Republic, Dubai, France, Kuwait, Luxembourg, Malta, New Zealand, Panama, Thailand, and the US. And of course, a very big supplier of, we'll call it a hub, is always the UAE in Dubai. That is a massive airport and a massive feeder to a lot of connecting flights, whether they're coming from Europe going to China. pay attention to Dubai, see the flow of the airline traffic coming from there. Other embassies are expected to release the notice soon. Foreigners who plan to travel to China in the near future are suggested to consult with their local embassies and consulates for more information. I think that's pretty straightforward. Let's have a look here. I'm seeing some people quoting flights. Flights to China from Canada are big dollars, 2,700 Canadian last I checked. I saw some flights in the first week of April. One way, of course, one way for a friend of mine. We saw approximately $550 to $600. We'll call it from Germany to, I believe, Beijing. One way, $600 US. So that's probably about 1,000 Canadian. I think a great app that I've used when I first got to China is trip.com or Ctrip inside of China. For some reason, more carriers are hooked up to that application. Ken, if you're watching, can you put a Ctrip or something in the or trip.com in a message box so the people know what I'm talking about? It's trip.com. So people, if you want to come to China, I suggest that is one travel application that you should use, okay? Because a lot of the other, we'll call them portals that we use, which are great. They're good. Trust me, they're good. You can compare, but I'm just saying add this one, Ctrip or Trip, whatever application you can download from your phone. Here, when I'm downloading, it's Ctrip. This makes it something of a competitive application for your phone. And what it does is it's connecting to a lot of really domestic airlines for that last leg of traveling. For example, you're coming from America. You found a great flight to Beijing, but Beijing is not your last destination. Let's say you want to go to Chongqing. So inside China, there is a lot of discount airlines like West Air, like we talked about and visited last week in the Jiangbei airport, as well as something I also think is a great combination. Not just that, guys. It's not just about airlines flying, but once again, my suggestion is if you can get a great flight anywhere in China to start, unless it's a city that doesn't have a direct flight. For example, you're coming from San Francisco or you're coming from London, and let's say the London flights to Beijing, there's lots, but Beijing might not be your final destination. If you can get a good price on a direct flight, get it, and then pull open this application. It has all the discount airlines, and then you do that last hurdle. Now, I want to add something to this, guys, something amazing to this, and this is what I talked to about a friend. Actually, Ken, it's Ctrip like this, Ctrip, there like that. I'm going to have to see what Ctrip, the other Ctrip is. So that's interesting too. Thank you, Ken, for that. I greatly appreciate it. The other thing is that I want to tell you guys is if you get to China, even Beijing, you want to come to a city like Chongqing, I'm forgetting one of the greatest things here, the bullet trains. Fuxing train, actually, we can get, I believe it, I know Gao's sitting here. I think it's about 7 hours from Chongqing to Beijing now. Is that about right? Yeah, high speed, you're right. Yeah. It's about 7 hours. We had a new line or new 4 stations linking this together, even from Chongqing. This is always changing in China. The infrastructure is always being upgraded. But imagine that. You want to, I don't know, fly into Shanghai. And let's say you want to go to Suzhou or you want to go to another city. The beautiful thing is that you can take these bullet trains. You can book them online. Even between Chengdu and Chongqing, there is over 100 of these daily connecting these cities together. The prices can be very, very affordable, but it's also the experience. And most of these train stations are connected or have a good connection to the airport. For example, if you're arriving in Shanghai, they have the maglev, which rapidly gets you into the city, but it's all connected beautifully here. So once again, if you can't find that direct flight to that city that you want to get to. Or if you can just find a really decent price to any city to get into China because you want to travel around it, then you can start looking at the bullet trains. And that's the cool thing also about this application. Let me and trust me, I haven't been sponsored by C-Trip, but man, they should. But let me tell you about C-Trip. The beautiful thing about it is the menu can be changed in the language that you need or the one that you understand the most. Now, here's the interesting part. For example, opening up this application on your phone, it immediately comes. I don't know if you guys can see that there. Let's have a look there. So that's, well, and I'm going to hold it right back there. That's the application there. And once you open it up, hotels, flights, trains, attractions, and tickets, I can immediately click on the train. All of this information in the language that you choose. Okay. I choose English language. It gives me what city do you want to leave from? What city do you want to get to? How there are, what tickets, what availabilities, second class, first class, business class. Okay. All the different booking times. It allows me to pay electronically through my WeChat, but also accepts Alipay, accepts credit cards, accepts international credit cards. Okay. Are you taking a train and do you want a discount on a hotel? Yes, you can do that. You can pick that as a connector. The other interesting thing about it is when it books your ticket on the train, it gives you a seat number and it actually gives you a photograph of how to get to the train station, what the train station looks like. So you can compare the photo. Yeah, I'm at the right train station. What the platform that your train is leaving from. It shows the actual number on the platform down on the ground on there. Step by step by step by step. It even tells you how to, who to show, how to show it, all these types of things. And it's very interesting. Let me have a look here. Let me just have a look. I'm just seeing some of these things here. Canada is not on the list or official information. It requires a 48-hour COVID result. So what's that? Yeah. I'm not sure. We're going to have to really check into what tests that you're going to need before coming. But I would say that you should look into each individual embassy. I know my wife is currently in Thailand right now, and I'm getting some good news is that, the flights out leaving from China went very smooth, very organized. Yes, a couple extra precautions, of course, as the country winds up. It probably needs to understand what the traffic flow is going to be. You got to think, when you have an outflow of people traveling around the world, these airlines also need these figures to understand on how to schedule. Can you imagine that? You're an owner of an airline, and one of the largest countries in the world has just opened up with 24 hours notice. Okay, I got another thing that I want to bring up to you guys. There are a few cities that, and I can't actually find this in the information, and I haven't been able to find it anywhere so far. But this is another visa that I think is going to probably come into effect here. If it's not already, I haven't seen it yet. Maybe you guys can dig and look into it. But these are what we call transit visas. Okay. Now, some cities have a 72-hour transit visa and some have a 144-hour transit visa. What that means is you can get on a plane and not need to visit the embassy, your embassy, to come to China. It's more for people that, hey, let's enjoy the weekend in Shanghai or Chongqing. Let's go for 3, 4, depending if it's a city that allows 72 hours or 144 hours. It's exactly what it says. So, but it can't be a round-trip flight. Follow me on this. So it can't be, let's say you're coming from Bangkok and you want to go to Chongqing and you want to take advantage of this 144-hour visa. Once you land, the clock starts ticking. You got 144 hours. I believe that's 6 days, something like that. Yeah, 6 or 7 days. Anyway, and what you do from that is in that time, then you must depart China. Now, your flight cannot be the same destination as you flew to. That's what was going on before, the pandemic came. And those were transit visas. And they were quite handy at the last minute. If you said, yeah, I feel like a weekend in Shanghai or Beijing or Chongqing or, Wuhan or something like that, it was quite a good thing to do. You could just head to the airport. There's no cost for it. It wasn't even a visa on arrival. It was like, okay, yeah, you're part of this. They would check, of course, to make sure your returning flight wasn't the same city. So that's why they call it a transit visa. And I think it very, very handy for people that want to, or at least in the proximity of China, especially people from Southeast Asia, people from Thailand. Instead of going down to visit these visa centers, they could just be told, get on an airplane, fly into Chongqing, fly into Guangzhou, Shenzhen. The world is your oyster at that point. Let's read a couple of things here. It says, thanks, Alex. So 48 COVID tests before boarding and don't need proof of COVID shot, likely visiting China in the fall. Yes, once again, let's check out about that COVID test. I'm not sure if that is a requirement by certain countries or if that has been completely scrapped. We are definitely going to find that out probably within the next 24 hours because people are going to be arriving into the country very, very soon, especially the ones that had that 10-year visa from the 10-year visa that they had from before. Let's have a look here. Here's a really good friend and as well as a very smart guy, Caliber Wings. If you guys come by Shenzhen, I can assist in any way I can if needed. Thank you so much, Noel, for offering that assistance to some of the people interested in coming to China. A beautiful city. Shenzhen was one of the first cities I've ever visited in China here, and it was absolutely amazing. But as I said, we really have to pay attention to what the embassies say, follow the China Visa Application Service Center. That really eases. I can imagine they're going to be busy, guys. But if you really, really, really want to get in here, my suggestion is go for it. Just go for it. Try to make that appointment, get that visa. And I noticed when we were doing these forms yesterday with a friend of mine that's coming here, they asked the travel date. So the interesting thing is they might be able to, let's say you're not really ready to come to China tomorrow or next week or whatever. I think there's a part in that application I saw that you can tell them the travel date, and that might be, they may be able to accommodate to, date that visa a little bit later for you if you're coming for travel purposes. Let's say you want to come in late April. I think that possibility is available through the Chinese Visa Application Service Center. I'm going to drop the link for that in let's have a look here. Let me just copy it. I'm going to drop this link for you guys to visit this site here. There it is there. And have a look at it. It's called visaforchina.cn. I'm sure it's region set. So that means that depending on what country that you're in, you're going to be able to set the language and go through all the paperwork. That's what I like about when China started to use these visa application service centers, is that it really got a lot of the confusion out of the way. I know that even visiting some of these websites, traveling to other countries, the embassies, you're downloading this form. Maybe it's out of date. You're sitting there kind of ticking in the box, writing in pen. Then you arrive at the embassy, or 2 days, 3 days later, you're in a massive lineup with people, and they're like, oh, you need a letter, or you need this piece of documentation, and you didn't take it. You're like, oh, man. So at least during this visa application center, from my experience, this is my experience, and yours might be much different, but depending on what visa it is as well, that they collected most of the information before I even got there for the appointment. They saw the form. They knew what visa I was coming for. It was very detailed. And I submitted it online. I had a electronic date confirmed when I was to show up to bring the official documents and my passport with me. So it kind of really took the stress out of getting a visa. I arrived at the visa service center, a little bit of a lineup, nothing major, but that lineup was only of people that pretty much had booked appointments to be there. So they know what kind of inflow they could handle. It's not like you're going to walk into these places and there's going to be 15,000 people in line like the olden days that used to be. Oh boy, man, I can remember the Chinese embassy in Thailand. Wow. I've never seen anything more wild in my life. But the new setup they have in especially in Thailand now for the Chinese Visa Application Service Center is a dream. It's like walking into, I would just say like a normal travel agency. Beautiful office, sofas there, a nice, well-lit LED screen saying, customer number 7, come to window number 4. You bring your papers, the lovely ladies and lovely men there sit there and they say, okay, yeah, okay, great. Takes about 10, 15 minutes after they verified everything. And that's the good news, is that the people at the Chinese Visa Application Service Center are working on behalf to help you, to assist you, to make sure all this paperwork is in order for them to then take that document, and that then goes to the official embassy. It's a fast process. Sounds like a big, long process, but man, they got this down. And I think a lot of countries can really learn from China. This is really a method. Once it goes in, they say, we'll call you. And sure enough, within 2-3 days later, I got a phone call. Said, Alex, come and pick up your passport. And they gave me a time slot to pick it up. Pick it up between 9 and 11 on Tuesday or Thursday. Just like that, I came. I had already prepaid for the visa because it went into the embassy. It was just a matter of me quickly taking a taxi down to pick up the documentation, and that is it. Yeah, here's a good thing. Let's have a look here. Hung, I'm not sure if you're talking about the streamline the visa application in China. I know my experience now from prior to before has drastically changed, and I'm really, really happy with where they're going with it. I'm here to welcome the folks. That's right, Caliber Wings. Noel, I'm here to welcome them as well. Let's have another just look at what I think is going to happen here in the next couple of weeks. I think we're going to see a lot more news headlines come up. We're going to see a lot more airlines announce new routes or maybe even direct routes. So if you're not in a hurry to get into China, just sit back and watch what's going to happen here over the next couple of weeks, because you will see a lot of the big names in the aviation business, not just the manufacturers like Airbus and Boeing, but we'll see a lot of major international carriers start promoting. You're going to see a lot of China, a lot of promotion, a lot of cities starting to show up on your TV screen, your internet, or whatever about, whoever it is, whether it's Emirates, whether it's Air France, whether it's Lufthansa, whether it's Air Canada. You're going to start to see a lot of expanded routes here coming on to the country of China here. Let's have a look. You've done better than, I don't know what you're talking about. We are still waiting. Okay. Hang, thanks for that. Just wondering, when booking HSR tickets, is there a max time frame you're allowed to book in advance? Let's try that. Maybe you can give me a route. And we're talking about the high-speed rail here, I believe. So let me have a look here. I'm bringing up China. So if you can give me a city or two there that you would like me to try, I can see how far. I'll try Chongqing for the moment here. Let's try, or let's try Shanghai, shall we? So a Shanghai route to, I don't know. Let's go to Kunming. Okay, Shanghai to Kunming, high-speed rail. Okay, and let's see how far in advance I can go. It's giving me here at least on my mobile application about 3 months in advance already. So that's 3 months in advance from the mobile application. But yes, that's, sorry? Okay. So yeah, as Gao was saying that these will fluctuate depending on holidays. Sometimes it's a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. But the good news is I don't see an issue at all. Um, but yes, booking in advance, just even by looking at my mobile phone, that is definitely available for sure. And yes, Ken, I congratulate you on your Boeing stock. It'll probably be a pretty interesting next few months on what's going to happen with that, as we see the largest country in the world gear up its connecting flights all over the globe. Can you imagine that? So it's been great updating you guys on this. I think once again, if you just joined me here, all the visa restrictions seem to be, well, gone. China visa offices abroad will resume issuing all types of visas to foreigners on Wednesday, that's today, to facilitate cross-border travel, including tourism visas, port visas, multiple visa exemption policies. The Foreign Ministry Department of Consular Affairs announced yesterday. Foreigners with a valid visa issued before the March 28th of 2020 will be allowed to enter China as the country is adjusting its visa and entry policies to facilitate travelers across the borders. Like I said again, if you're in a rush to get here, the best strategy I would say is make an appointment with the China Visa Application Service Center. Once you get that appointment, pretty much get any flight you can into China. If you're lucky enough to have one flying from your country direct to that destination, then congratulations to you. If not, it might be a cool thing if you're just coming to travel to get any flight into the country, enjoy its fantastic high-speed rail system. I know there's over 60,000 kilometers of rail track here. If Alex can hook up his mobile phone screen to share a screen share on the stream, it would be awesome to help folks understand as a tutorial on booking stuff on the mobile. Caliber Wings, yes, I will do that next time. But yeah, very cool. I can do that. And I think what I'll do next time, we also, in our new studio here, we do have the possibility of bringing people on to the program as well. It can be video, or it can even be a voice call over a mobile phone, over an application. We do have that availability. So I'm going to definitely look into doing that. Gowie's going to load up the outro for you guys now. I think we're going to get the outro, and you guys can say your hellos and goodbyes to everybody for this fantastic day here. What a great day. March 15th is going to be a huge day in history, I think, here for China and for everyone that wants to come to China. Wow. I mean, absolutely fantastic. I think that, well, we're just going to let you guys enjoy. We'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.